"Mom, Mom," I heard through my sleep. Quickly jumping out of bed, I rushed into the room where my nephew Sammy had been living since my sister's death. Almost a year had passed since the accident, and during the day, the boy never mentioned his mother, but in his sleep, he often called out to her, making my heart ache. My sister was 2 years older than me. She had a kind of refined beauty and knew how to present herself to the world. Meanwhile, I, apart from having a very ordinary appearance, didn't know how to speak or behave gracefully. I spent all my childhood in the company of neighborhood boys and probably acquired some of their habits. My sister didn't play with the boys. She was into music, playing either the piano or the violin. They tried to teach me art as well, but without any success. Any musical instrument in my hands turned into a weapon of battle. The paintings I created were so terrible that my parents started worrying about my mental health. So, they didn't dare to test my singing talent and allowed me to live the way I liked. At 17, I fell in love for the first time with my sister's boyfriend. I knew I had no right to admire his dark eyes and dream of kissing his biceps or shoulders, but I couldn't help myself. I spent almost every night in his imaginary embrace, not wanting to wake up and end the beautiful vision. In reality, Jake paid no attention to me. Well, he didn't pay attention to me as a woman. He treated me solely as a tomboy, which I essentially still was. That is, if you dream of kissing a guy, your face shouldn't be smeared with road dust from wrestling with Misha on the shore for the right to own a new spinning rod that Quiet Serg brought. And your nails should be perfectly clean, not with bits of dirt sticking out, and your hair should be combed, preferably more than once a day. All these qualities, nails, hair, and snow white cheeks, were characteristic of my sister, so I had no chance from the start, but I wasn't used to giving up, so I constantly hung around Jake, trying to please him. "Annie, run and get some lemonade from the house," Jake asked, helping Dad fix the fence. Okay, I nodded and ran off to fulfill his request. "Here, take it." "What? You only brought one glass?" He laughed, making my knees buckle. "What about Dad?" Dad? Dad didn't look like Jake, and I didn't run as fast for his share of lemonade. "Annie, pass me those nails," the dark-haired handsome man asked, and I already had the jar of nails ready, willing to stand like that forever, just so his hand would occasionally come close to mine, allowing me to feel the heat of his skin. I don't know why, but I thought my sister was completely unsuitable for Jake, and sooner or later, he would realize that, and I would be there. Jake seemed to me lively, cheerful, and strong, while Vera looked like a porcelain doll, affected and constantly whining, with snow white, transparent skin and wide open eyes. When Vera announced that she and Jake were getting married, I called her a homewrecker and ran away from home. My father found me. After spending several days in a hut on the beach, my appearance was quite pitiful. I looked like something between a wild gypsy and Huckleberry Finn from Tom Sawyer. For the first time, my father talked to me as if I were an adult. "Tell me, Annie, how do you feel about yourself?" I stared at him with wide, surprised eyes. "Do you respect yourself, love yourself, accept yourself as a person?" I thought about it. Of course, I love myself. I am strong, brave, and cheerful. But respect? That's a different question. Probably the fact that I liked my sister's boyfriend, who was soon to become her husband, didn't earn my respect. Moreover, if someone had told me a similar story, I would have despised that person. My father correctly interpreted my silence. A person who doesn't respect themselves cannot evoke love in someone else. Love must be earned, do you understand? How? Accept yourself. Stop thinking that your sister is special and you are not. You are you, and there is no one better than you. Really? Believe me, for the person who will love you, you will be the only one. Suddenly, I desperately wanted to become the best for someone, better than my sister and her beautiful friends. "Okay, Dad, I'll try to forget Jake." He looked at me attentively and nodded. "You'll manage." And I did. No one present at my sister's wedding would have suspected my feelings for the groom. Only I and perhaps my father knew what it cost me. A year later, my father was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and he passed away within a month. We didn't even have time to understand what had happened before he was gone. My only consolation was that we had grown much closer lately. Perhaps he was helping me deal with myself. Another year later, Jake left my sister for someone else. I think he was too handsome for his own good, and being fully aware of it, couldn't resist temptation. Later, Jake changed wives and girlfriends like gloves, and I horrifyingly realized what an incredible favor my father had done for me and how many disappointments he had saved me from. Vera took the separation from her husband quite calmly. I even thought she had never loved Jake. Perhaps she was just disgusted by having such a handsome man by her side. Sometimes people see their partner as an accessory or a beautiful tie. That is, against their background, you seem richer or more impressive. I don't know, maybe I was also drawn to Jake's appearance, but I think I was attracted to his overall image, including his cheerful nature and the ease with which he walked through life. Anyway, after some time, I completely forgot about Jake because I met Mike. Nothing special happened between us. We were just a suitable couple and sometimes, either jokingly or seriously, talked about marriage. I felt so comfortable with him, as if we had known each other for an eternity, and I had no doubt that Mike was my soulmate, my destiny, and so on. But one day, everything ended. "Annie, I need to talk to you." Vera's voice was unusually quiet and somehow jelly-like trembling. "Shall we come to you with Mike this evening?" I suggested. "I want to talk alone." I thought my sister had some personal problems and didn't want to share them with outsiders. "Okay, so where and when? Can I come to you right now?" I was surprised. Usually, Vera worked during the day. Given that she had recently started her own company, she always had a lot of work. I was the free spirit in our family, not wanting to dedicate my life to the modern pace. I was engaged in finding rare items and selling them to collectors. Some of the relics stayed with me, so I had a small shop right in the annex next to my apartment on the ground floor. My visitors were rare, so I could say I managed my time as I saw fit. "Annie, I know that at one time you suppressed your feelings to not come between me and Jake, and although it didn't help my marriage at all, I am still incredibly grateful to you. And that's why I'm so ashamed now." "Why?" I smiled carelessly. "Mike and I love each other. It happened by accident. We didn't expect it ourselves. He's afraid to tell you about our relationship. He says it might mortally wound you. Mike cares about you a lot. You're like family to him, but there are real feelings between us, you understand?" I looked at her, continuing to smile because I couldn't grasp the meaning of her words. "Don't be silent, say something." "What can I say? I don't understand. Are you talking about my Mike?" Honestly, I couldn't comprehend how Mike and Vera could be together behind my back. How could they even be together? They were completely different people, not suited for each other, as if they were from different planets. "Annie, yes, I'm talking about your Mike, only he's not yours anymore. So we need to figure something out, and I hope for your understanding." I sat down on a chair and looked intently into my sister's eyes. "Is this definitely not revenge for my childhood crush on your Jake? This is absolutely unrelated. It just happened. Such things occur in life. It's strange that it's happening to us. Do you think it's childhood competition? I don't see the point in philosophizing. A fact is a fact. And what am I supposed to do with this fact? Let Mike go. Take him. Are you angry? Number. Then what? Vera, you understand better than me that I won't fight, especially with you. If he doesn't need me, then what's the point?" "You're right," my sister sighed. "I really ask for your forgiveness. Since we've decided everything, I'll go. I have meetings." Vera left through the door and I stared into space for a few more minutes. I wonder what Dad would say now. It seemed that I hadn't earned love again because I didn't respect myself. Or maybe Vera had more self-respect, and that's why Mike fell in love with her. Without coming to any understanding, I mechanically started packing my things. Suddenly, I felt an urgent need to go to Boston, where an unusual handmade casket belonging to the royal family had been discovered. I couldn't miss the chance to get it. On the train, I noticed several missed calls from Mike and my sister on my phone. But what could I say to them? Guys, figure it out yourselves and just leave me alone. As a result, I found myself at my sister's wedding again, showing with all my appearance that I was immeasurably happy. Time is the coldest and most insensitive doctor. It heals any wounds, even torn and stabbed ones. And it doesn't matter what's under those wounds, sharp edges, or even forgotten surgical instruments. Everything has passed. Everything is forgotten. If you don't disturb the wound, don't try to open it, you can live your whole life peacefully. And many understand that this is the only way to survive. Soon, Vera and Mike had Sammy, my nephew, whom I adored, so I was even somewhat grateful to fate for how everything turned out. In general, we were all happy for about 3 years. Then a terrible accident happened, in which my sister and her husband Mike died. Mom fell into a long depression, so I had to take Sammy in. I didn't really see myself as a caregiver for young children, so I had to learn quickly. Sammy, of course, was a trooper. He helped me in everything, told me how to cook porridge and about the importance of vaccinations, although I saw his knees tremble before the procedure room and how he grimaced at the sight of oatmeal. But we were a team, so we ate porridge together, and in solidarity, I got vitamin shots too. Our only problem was the nights when Sammy cried and called for his mom. At such moments, I almost went crazy and barely restrained myself from bursting into tears. I couldn't. I had to be strong. We had enough of Mom's constant tears. Someone had to take care of everything. The fact that I, like a robot, turned off all emotions and continued to live didn't mean it wasn't hard for me. I love my sister very much. Vera was like a beacon without which I would have been lost in the dark depths. She was a real woman, the kind they paint portraits of and dedicate poems to, and that's why it was warm next to her like in the sun. And the fact that all those guys were drawn to her is understandable. Who can compete with the sun? But one day, I finally understood the meaning of my father's words. He appeared suddenly, burst into my shop like a whirlwind, and turned everything around him, literally and figuratively. I was told you can find something special here. The tall and thin visitor almost shouted, knocking over a bench standing by the counter. The bench, falling, knocked over a cactus, inexplicably placed right on the floor of my shop by my assistant Masha, and the cactus, in turn, fell right on the visitor. Probably taking revenge for the fact that he had the audacity to disturb His Majesty. The guy yelped and stared at me with an accusing look. What? I asked. Deal with the plant yourself, I'm not to blame. Why put thorns right in the passageway? So that impudent visitors don't stick their noses where they're not asked. This is my shop, and if I want, I'll turn it into the Atacama Desert, lengthwise and crosswise, overgrown with cacti. I don't know what came over me and why I attacked him, defending the unfortunate thorn, but the guy wasn't embarrassed at all. On the contrary, looking at me admiringly, he asked, "Have you ever played paintball?" I looked at him questioningly, and he continued, "I have a game tonight, and one member of our already small team got sick, and I think you would make a great attacker." "Why do you think so?" "Well, you even skillfully defend a cactus. You definitely won't let an old lady be offended." "What old lady?" "My grandmother. Today is her birthday, and she's celebrating her 75th anniversary in this original way." I couldn't help but smile. "Great. It's decided. You're coming with me," the guy declared. "Are we already on a first-name basis?" I can't shout during the game, "Annie, Don't be shy and shoot William Ignatievich right in the back, can I? By the time I say that, Uncle Bill will take down our entire team. I thought about how he knew my name, then remembered that I was wearing a name tag today, and nodded in agreement. Well, yes. In this case, it's really worth switching to first names. He had a funny name, Ignatius, Iggy. When my Sammy met him, he asked, "Are you a parrot?" "Only don't tell anyone," Iggy whispered in response, immediately becoming the boy's best friend. "Why do you never mention your sister's name?" Iggy asked one day. "Why pour salt on the wound?" The wound is there as long as you're silent. Once you start talking about it, it becomes ordinary and stops hurting. There was logic in his words. Humans tend to get used to everything, good and bad. When something becomes a habit, it stops seeming special. With frequent use, one can equally perceive a golden toilet and a hole in a barn plastered with flies. Such is human nature. At first, Mom shushed me when I constantly brought up Vera, but soon her tears began to represent not sorrow but bright memories of all the good associated with her daughter. Photos of my sister returned to the walls of the apartment, and Sammy stopped screaming at night. As for me, I often joke that if Vera were alive, Iggy would probably be her husband now, not mine. To which he replies that he likes the slight tingling in a certain place that a splinter named Annie gives him. So, Dad was right. When someone loves the real you, only then are you truly worthy of that love.